Welcome to the Just Baseball Show. It is Friday, July 22nd. I'm Peter Apple. That's Jack McMullen. We have a loaded episode, my friend. We have a Ryan Lavarnway interview at the end, but we're also going to talk about some MLB power rankings that you wrote on justbaseball.com. But first, we get a couple interesting headlines from the All-Star game. One good one that made me just think that Juan Soto is getting traded by the end of next week. So let's start with Juan Soto. The Nationals made Juan Soto fly commercial instead of chartering a plane and letting him fly private. So basically he was on a Spirit Airlines flight at seat 32B, which we have sat in a number of times.
Yeah.
And it made me think to myself, man, that situation is bad. And it went so quickly bad. But also I want to throw another thing at you because I saw a good tweet. Why didn't Boris fly him private either? Because he's got all the money in the world.
Yeah, it's a pinch. Like you need a good deal with Wheels Up or Sun Country or something like that. You need a deal with a charter small plane company. I'm sure Boris has it, but it's hard to get it there when you're flying that Sunday night to get to LA Monday morning, or in Soto's case, I think he landed at 1:30 LA time, which is 4:30 DC time. So, yeah, I mean, like it's a pinch. You would think that the Nationals would have had that equipped for their All-Star, but they didn't. Same can be said about Paul Blackburn in Oakland. So they wanted to fly Blackburn commercially, and the Astros caught wind of that. Oakland finished their series in Houston and said, dude, just get on our flight. So he flew charter with the Astros. The thing about Soto flying commercial is I saw a couple of reports that the Nationals refused to fly him charter. The A's were just being idiots, and they were like, oh yeah, like we booked him first class on United. And that's the thing. When we say fly commercial, it's not back of the plane like our broke asses fresh out of college fly. It is first class on United or Delta or American. Like they're fine. They're being pampered. But it's the thought.
Yeah.
This is an all-star. This is Major League Baseball. You are given the option of steak or salmon on the flight on getaway day at the Major League level. That's what you work so hard to get. You work so hard to get on that private plane, get on that team plane, have PF Chang's catered up to the door on the runway, and take off. You're not in it to fly like everybody else. You're above that. And Juan Soto is above that. Paul Blackburn is above that. And both of their organizations did not feel that they were above that. And I think the number that Juan Soto is going to put pen to paper for is going to be well above that.
I agree. And it's going to be well above that, but it's also two different completely situations. I mean, with Paul Blackburn, Billy Bean, with the Oakland A's in Moneyball, they like to keep the money on the field. And, the Oakland Athletics, at the end of the day, they don't have the money to do so, or at least they act like they don't, even though they're a major league franchise and they totally could do that. I feel like it's a little bit different situation with Juan Soto. Not only is he an all-star, not only did he win the home run derby, even though he landed at 1:30 in the morning, he's the best player in Washington Nationals franchise history. I mean, you could go back to the Expos and say maybe Pedro was an all-time great, of course, and Vladimir Guerrero, of course. But in Washington Nationals history, this is a 19-year-old who won a ring and then has been an MVP caliber candidate and expects to sign the largest contract, which they will not be giving him. They already extended an extension of $440 million, which he declined. And I know you guys talked about that on Monday.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he's probably going to sign a contract elsewhere. And it seems like it's only a matter of days before he gets traded now. I just saw that headline and thought to myself, man, this is going south. Remember 2 months ago where we were answering those questions from the mailbag? Where is Juan Soto getting traded? And we scoffed at it. Jack, we scoffed at it because we thought there was no way in hell. And now it seems like there's no way in hell he's not getting traded.
I think it was June 1st that Mike Rizzo, the GM of the Nationals, said we are not trading Juan Soto. Legitimately said that outright. We are not trading Juan Soto. He didn't pussyfoot around anything. He just said, we're not trading Juan Soto. But when you say no to 15 years, 440, dude, like there's nothing I can do for you here. If I'm Mike Rizzo, if I'm Nats ownership, there's nothing that I can do for Soto. And that's not a Soto problem. Hell, that's not even a Scott Boras problem. That is, we just decided to empty the tank on this offer You said no. We literally have an empty tank. We're not going to tap into the reserves here because we need 25 other guys on the roster.
Yep.
We can't do this. His contract is going to decimate any team that he goes to. I think everybody knows that. Steve Cohen, yes, he's got unlimited money with the Mets. It's going to hurt. $500 million is going to hurt for Juan Soto. For the Dodgers, that ownership group, it's going to hurt. For the Yankees, if they do it, it's going to hurt. Whoever signs Soto to this $500 million deal is signing up to have this guy enter Cooperstown with his cap on, but also financially handcuff you for the foreseeable future. So are you okay with that if you do think that he is this transcendent Mickey Mantle, Ted Williams type talent? If the answer is yes, then maybe you go for it and see what happens here, like a Bucks and Giannis situation. Giannis is, the surrounding talent around Giannis was not good enough, but they knew that they had one of the greatest players of all time, and we know that in his mid-20s. The question that all these frontline executives, that all of these owners who are shelving out the money, and all of these general managers, these president of baseball operations need to be asking is, do we think this is the Giannis Antetokounmpo of baseball? Do we think that this is the guy who, when he's 25 years old, we are going to be looking at and saying, this is a one-man wrecking crew. He's one of the greatest players of all time, and we're so happy he's here. He's never leaving. I don't know if the answer is yes or no yet. Granted, it's Juan Soto. Obviously, he's done amazing things since 2019, but in a vacuum, like that's a pretty short period of time.
Granted, it is Juan Soto, but at the same time, and we were going over just some numbers pre-record, and Juan Soto is limited to a corner. He's a corner outfielder who currently ranks in the first percentile of outs above average. You brought me that stat before we recorded. First, which means he's one of the worst defenders by the numbers in baseball right now in a corner outfield. He's not perfect. No baseball player is. Like Trout's not perfect either. He's also been dealing with injury concerns, but at the end of the day, it's Mike Trout and he's on the Angels. And how are the Angels doing? And I think that's a good segue into our power rankings because neither the Angels or the Nationals are actually the last team in baseball. That just goes to show that the Paul Blackburn-led Oakland A's are at number 30. You know, we could start talking about the Oakland A's at number 30, but do you have anything on them?
One quick thing. Their owner, John Fisher, his parents founded Gap. He has a net worth of $2.2 billion, and he chose to book Paul Blackburn on a commercial flight. So that's that.
Keep the money on the field.
Okay.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Washington Nationals are at number 29. I mean, we could go through a lot of the teams, but I want to go through the biggest risers because you should go read Jack's article on justbaseball.com ranking all 30 teams, power ranking them after the All-Star break. There hasn't been a lot of movement, but I'm sure Cubs fans don't like to see themselves at number 25, and you are a Cubs fan. It's just the direction with the Chicago Cubs at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, what do you have, right? I think I said in the write-up that a retool, if you can't see that the quote-unquote retooling that Jed Hoyer and Carter Hawkins branded this as is now a rebuild, then you need to open your eyes a little bit wider because what they tried to do in the quote-unquote retooling department with Marcus Stroman and Wade Miley and other guys like that has just blown up in their face. So I don't think you can look at this roster and say, yeah, like I see a path to success right now. I think you can look at the teams in low A, high A, and double A and say, yeah, there's a chance that there's success 4 years down the road. So lean into that. Get the expiring deals off your plate. Get the vets who are so sought after that are going to get you a great haul off your plate. Shell Wilson Contreras out. Shell Ian Happ out. Whoever has value, dish them out and work around a guy like Christopher Morel, who has become electric. Work around guys in the minor leagues right now, like Brennan Davis and Kevin Alcantara, guys like Owen Casey, Pete Crow Armstrong, who was just in the Futures game. There is a ton of young talent. They're not there yet. Lean into it. Allow the rebuild to happen for more than half a season like they wanted it to in the back half of 2021 and get moving in 2025.
One of the biggest fallers for good reason is the Los Angeles Angels, who currently sit at 39 and 53, and they check in at 21 in these power rankings, a drop of 4 from their previous rank of 17. Jack, I don't even know if I need your analysis. I'm just going to read through their lineup from the game where they pitched Jose Suarez against the Dodgers, where they lost 7-1.
Yeah.
Leading off was Luis Rengifo. Did I pronounce that correctly, Jack? Rengifo. Excuse me. At third base. You got Shohei Ohtani. Amazing. Taylor Ward has been very good this year, but he has been slowing down. He's currently hitting 286, which is a far cry away from when he was hitting 330.
470, yeah.
Yeah. Max Stassi is the catcher. Good catcher. Hitting 203 at the end of the day.
Fine.
Joe Adell,
Okay. Athletic.
Yep. Athletic. David McKinnon.
No.
He's hitting 189 as their first baseman right now. Brandon Marsh.
No.
Michael Stefanik.
Okay. Nice guy. No.
Andrew Velasquez.
No.
That's the reality.
Yeah. And I mean, Trout's on the shelf again. Trout's on the IL again. So I don't know when the next full season of Mike Trout we're going to get is. Shohei Ohtani, enjoy him while you have him. And he's going to sign for $65 million annually. And whether that be with the Angels or not, we'll see. They have done a decent job in recent drafts, and they just had a pretty good draft this past weekend. I think that the Angels are setting themselves up for future success. Problem is, I just don't know if that aligns with the peak of Mike Trout's powers and the peak of Shohei Ohtani's powers and contractually when he's obligated to stay.
So I floated this take more as a joke, but there's truth in every joke. At the end of the day, truth is funny.
Yes.
Of trading Shohei Ohtani, trading Mike Trout.
No.
I mean, what is this? What team are we looking at here? What is the goal? Because you're not going to sign Shohei to a $60 million deal per year. You already got Mike Trout locked up. You already got all these guys locked up. It was actually mocked on ESPN. ESPN came out with this, trading Shohei Ohtani to the Braves. Do I believe that? Of course not. But at the end of the day, it's still in the back of my mind, because at the end of the day, this is an Angels team with no future, or at least right now with Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. You have to do something, because you're not going to be able to sign Shohei with all the contracts that you're locked up with.
I saw a good one from Andy McCullough with The Athletic, and I really like Andy's work. I love his work, but I just cackled at this one. Shohei, Anthony Rendon, Joe Adell, and cash considerations to Washington for Juan Soto.
Just makes no sense.
I was like, what are we doing here? No.
Just throwing everything at the wall on purpose. All right, let's move away from the Angels. And I got to say, this was a surprising faller from me. When I was going through your list, Texas Rangers dropped from 16 to 20. And while the offense is starting to heat up, we just saw a good start from John Gray. I mean, to beat the Marlins, who haven't scored since July 15th, since Aram was 24 years old, since before the All-Star break, 34 innings straight of 0 runs. So you don't put a ton of stock into that, but the offense has at least been better. What made the Rangers fall? Because I don't think they should have fallen. I think they should have probably stayed around the same, but fallen 4 spots was interesting to me.
Yeah, I think some other teams have done a good job of rising from the 20 and the early 20s. I think with Texas, I kind of see through what they're doing right now. And I think everybody does, yes, you're 8 games under 500, but again, Martin Perez, he might be a sitting duck here. How long is this going to be sustained? John Gray just put together a good start against the worst offense in baseball right now. They haven't scored in 34 innings. And if you watch John Gray yesterday against the Marlins, I mean, he was leaving sliders middle. Like there was Eli Sussman of Fish Stripes. And I texted the group about this. Like he clipped a video of Jesus Sanchez fouling a ball back to the screen and totally off balance on an 85-mile-an-hour cement mixer, middle. John Gray was not executing pitches at all yesterday. The Marlins are just so bad. But then you're running out Taylor Hearn, you're running out Glenn Otto, you're running out guys, I don't know, like Brock Burke, Spencer Howard. Like there's just nothing good there. The good is Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter, and they're coming.
I will say Brock Burke has been pretty phenomenal in that bullpen, but it's one of the bright spots of their pitching, and they need Kumar Rocker and they need Jack Leiter.
Yeah.
Orioles fans are going to be upset with you. They're going to be upset with you, and you know it.
I know.
They're ranked 18, or are they ranked 19? They were 19. They've moved up to only 18. Jack, they're going to be pissed off at you. So state your case.
Yeah. Your starting rotation is Jordan Lyles, Tyler Wells. Do we really believe that 3.38 ERA?
Tyler Wells might be the new Cal Quantrill.
Spencer Watkins. Do we believe the 3.93?
No.
Dean Kramer. Do we believe 2.59?
Yes.
No. Austin Voth. Do we believe 3.42?
You know what's funny about Austin Voth? He came out with a comment that when he went over the Orioles, that it was great that they had all these numbers and he was able to really dive into his pitch mix. And now Washington fans are probably thinking to themselves, are you kidding me? We don't have numbers for these guys? That they aren't able to like have the data that most of these teams do. I mean, with the Orioles, you know, they've been last place in the AL East, but the AL East has been the best division in baseball. So you can't really blame them. But at the end of the day, they haven't been that great of a team in recent years, but they still have better data than the Washington Nationals. So maybe the Voth thing is for real now that he has actual data.
I don't think so. So that's my case with the pitching. Offensively, Ryan McKenna is playing too many games. Cedric Mullins has a 700 OPS. Jorge Mateo's got a 610 OPS. Rougned Odor has a 655 OPS. Robinson Chirinos has played 46 games with a 523 OPS. I think that we're really excited about what's to come. I think we're really excited about Adley. I think we're really excited about Mountcastle, Mancini. Santander has been good. And obviously with Jorge Lopez, Felix Bautista, and CNL Perez have done in the bullpen. But like, there's just not enough there for me. Right now, there's not enough there. And the way that we attack these power rankings is by looking at who the legitimately best teams in baseball are, the teams with the best chance to win the World Series are. And I just don't see it with the Baltimore Orioles. I know they've been great. You rose a spot, but you win 10 in a row as the Orioles. I don't think you're a top 10 team in baseball. Now, Seattle, you can see it, and we'll get to them later because they're pretty high up there. You can see it because of the star power. You can see it because what has turned into track record is turned into current results. With Baltimore, you just haven't seen it yet. So I just have to see more.
And you don't see it with your 16th ranked White Sox either?
They're up from what, 20 or 21?
Yeah, 20.
They're up from 20. So that division's so bad, dude.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Like they could absolutely win that division.
But
they keep shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah. They just have no fundamentals. It's like, it's almost, to put it in, I guess, basketball terms, they sort of remind me of like the Lakers. Like, you know, you're supposed to play good defense. This bullpen was supposed to be good. And the Lakers are, you know, you're supposed to shoot threes. You're supposed to play defense, but they're just not doing it. Does that make sense for the White Sox, that it's just everything has to work in harmony? And when it's not, they look like a third place team. And that's why when we're ranking teams who could possibly win the World Series, the White Sox have, in your opinion, the 16th best chance at doing so?
I think so. You know, it's tough because you've got Minnesota and Cleveland above them. Do I think that Minnesota and Cleveland are more talented? No. I think that the White Sox are one of the 6 or 7 most talented teams in baseball, and I genuinely believe that. But the thing is, Leury Garcia has played 67 games. Do you know what he's slugging?
I don't even want to guess to be disrespectful.
He's slugging 262.
Oh, I was even.
So, like, that's the thing, dude. I mean, you've got Luis Robert, you've got Tim Anderson, you've got guys that are exceptionally talented, like Andrew Vaughn, but then you've got Yohan Moncada looking like a shell of his former self. Gavin Sheets looking like he's a liability. Jose Abreu's obviously been great, but again, you're wasting space on Reese McGuire and Leury Garcia offensively. It's really, really hard to watch. Now, I think the pitching is a bright spot. I really love what Cease is doing. I think he's a sleeper Cy Young candidate. I love what Kopech is doing. And I like what Johnny Cueto is doing, to be totally honest. But Lance Lynn, I was hoping to see great things from Lance Lynn. The guy sucks right now. So We'll see what goes on with that. I feel like this team is due to shoot themselves in the foot again, just because they've had 10 good games.
And a team that you and Arm really thinks shooting themselves in the foot, that's the Boston Red Sox, maybe the biggest faller in these entire rankings. Previous ranking was 7. They have now dropped to 13. You guys were talking about this losing streak that I feel like hasn't gotten much noise. But the Boston Red Sox are there where they are, third place in their division, right above the Blue Jays, or at least right next to the Blue Jays, definitely below the Tampa Bay Rays. I want to play devil's advocate, though. So give me your case of why you think the Red Sox should be at 13, and I'm going to give you my case why I still think they're a top 10 team in baseball.
Last two games against the Yankees, they lost a combined 27-3.
The Yankees are the best team in baseball.
27-3?
Yeah, I mean, with run differential and all that kind of stuff, it's like sometimes you're watching the games and it's like 6-0 and then they take their foot off the gas and then they get a couple runs against a bullpen. They'll throw in a random guy. I don't put a ton of stock into that. It's just so hard for me to think that this Red Sox team managed by Alex Cora with what they have done in recent past. Like, is Alex Verdugo going to continue to struggle like this? Is the outfield in general going to continue to be this bad? Rafael Devers is doing his thing. Xander Bogaerts is doing his thing. Don't you think that the Red Sox are going to be buyers at this deadline, add big time pieces? We mock Josh Bell. That's a big upgrade over a Bobby Dalbec. You know, even Christian Vasquez has been playing better too. And I know Sale just went out with the injury, but it's just so hard for me to believe that they won't be in this come wild card season and that they're just going to figure out how to win games. I mean, the bullpen is still good. They got Garrett Whitlock back in there, which is a great spot for him. I think Tanner Houck is going to improve as well. And then you look at the rotation, there's still guys who we expect to regress, but haven't really been regressing that much. I still think the Red Sox are a top 10 team, but I'm not as high on them as I was when I called them one of the best teams in baseball. I don't think they're there, but I still think they deserve to be top 10.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams, when you see conflict, it stems from what's going on the field. The Red Sox are unique, and I think that the reason that they fell as drastically as they did is because I feel like what's happening right now with Bogaerts and Devers in terms of contractual conversation can't not affect them. I mean, those are the two best players on the team. JD Martinez has been great. JD already got paid, but I said it on the Monday show. This team is good because of the two guys that they refuse to pay. Bogaerts, Devers. When those two are laughing when Alex Spear of the Boston Globe asks them what they think Rafi's value is, that shows you that this team in this front office, I don't want to say team, that this front office has no respect for the service that Rafi Devers provides the Boston Red Sox. So that's my big thing there. You've probably got two really unhappy superstars, whether they're showing it or not. And I think that can't do anything positive for your clubhouse.
I guess my thing is, I look at the Twins, who you ranked number 11 in these power rankings. They jumped up a spot from number 12. I look at the Twins and I look at the Red Sox. I objectively think the Red Sox are better. I can't look at this Twins roster. Let's go through that same rotation. Like the Red Sox rotation is that bad. Let's go through the Twins rotation. They ain't doing shit either.
It's not good.
And the bullpen, I think it's worse than the Red Sox. We look at the offense. Red Sox can bang right with them. I think the Red Sox are kind of better on every facet of the field.
So it's not good, but easier path to the postseason for the Twins, which gives them a better chance at winning the World Series.
Not wrong.
Much lighter schedule.
Not wrong.
Minnesota also has the vibes. The vibes are immaculate in Minnesota right now. Just think about the vibes. Seriously. Carlos Correa is playing well now. He's happy. Jorge Polanco has been playing well. He's happy. Byron Buxton just started an all-star game. That dude is as happy as can be. He just went nuclear. Hit a bomb in the all-star game. And Luis Arraez is Rod Carew. He's Rod Carew's favorite player, he said. Ichiro said that Luis Arraez was his favorite player now.
That's fire.
Ichiro said Luis Arraez. So I think that this offense is too fun, and pitching can be contagious. I think that pitching can catch that positivity bug from the offense and say, you know what, let's go. Let's pick these guys up. I think they're going to win a lot more 5-4 games than the Red Sox are.
I just don't agree with this bullpen. I think you're right with the offense. Like the offense, I agree. It's right up there with the Red Sox because the Red Sox have one of the best offenses in baseball. And you could say that the same for the Twins. But when I'm looking at a playoff series, I trust the Red Sox bullpen more. I just do, especially with Whitlock, with Schreiber. And then when you go to the rotation outside of Sonny Gray, who is the same Sonny Gray that has been dominating on the Oakland A's? was dominating on the Cincinnati Reds and is now very good in the regular season, but has also dealt with injury concerns. Behind him, you have a guy like Devin Smeltzer. We're talking about Dean Kramer and his 2.59 ERA not continuing. And what about Devin Smeltzer? I mean, a lot of these guys, it's like, yes, they've been performing fine, but at the end of the day, do we believe in the Twins rotation? And I certainly do not believe in the Twins bullpen. I can't fathom the Red Sox being worse than the Twins, even though the vibes are immaculate.
Yeah, my thing is like, who are the Red Sox running out right now? Because Pavetta's got a 4.5 ERA. Evaldi, obviously, Whitlock, obviously, but I just don't think that the pitching skews so heavily in favor of Boston over Minnesota. I don't think either of these teams survive the ALDS or a wild card series for totally different reasons. I think the Red Sox just kind of crumble pitching wise. I think a blow up inning gets them, and obviously they can't defend for shit in the outfield. They can't get to anything in the outfield. For the Twins, I think they get blown out of the ballpark by a good offensive team that hammers inferior pitching. I have more confidence in the Twins getting there than I do the Red Sox.
I think that's fair. But a team that you have above both of them, as now we break into the top 10, is the Toronto Blue Jays with a worse record than both. Is that kind of your thinking? I still believe in the Blue Jays because, like, do we believe that Jose Barrios is just going to have a terrible season, or do we believe that he's going to tick up? Alek Manoah just really seems like he is that fucking dude. Yes. I mean, you hear him mic'd up in the All-Star game. He's just got the bravado and he's got the stuff to back it up. He's for real. Kevin Gausman, we'll see about the bad second half. I've said it from the beginning of the year. Great first half of San Francisco, really bad second half. Great first half of Toronto. We'll see. Not saying that he will, just saying that we'll have to see. Then you look at the rest of the rotation, not great. Outside of Jordan Romano, maybe Meza has been good, Simber has been good, but outside of that, there's not a lot to hold on to. And the offense has not been as electric as it was last year, but you still believe in the Blue Jays over the Red Sox and Twins.
Yeah, so Simber's thrown a billion games. The reason that I have the Jays higher than the Red Sox and the Twins, they just hit 280 as a team in July before the All-Star break. Like, they have the best team batting average in baseball before the All-Star break. It does feel like this offense is starting to finally come around. And I think that was the thing that frustrated everybody. Obviously, Barrios is frustrating as hell. The pitchers going down left and right, that was frustrating as hell. But if you look at Toronto and you realize that the crux of the frustration was with Bo Bichette hitting the ball on the ground all the time to start the year, Vladdy feeling like he was figured out to start the year, and George Springer being in and out of the lineup, he was good, but Matt Chapman struggling to find form. Now, look at the numbers. Alejandro Kirk has come out of nowhere in the last 2 months. Vladdy's up to an 830 OPS. Santiago Espinal's been great. Bo Bichette is turning a page. He's still been underwhelming. Matt Chapman is turning a page so far this year. Springer's still been great. Teoscar Hernandez is starting to really tick up. I think that if they remain healthy, this offense can do what we thought they were going to do in spring training, and that's win a shit ton of games by a shit ton of runs.
I think that's fair. I will say Santiago Espinal has slowed down offensively. Remember, he was
offensively, but not defensively.
Not defensively, and I think that's key because that's what they expected from Santiago Espinal, was to be this Swiss Army knife that they could use all over the field, and the offense was just a bonus, and he gave them even more than they could have even wanted. And now I think he's just regressing to what they thought he would be, which is still an above average player because of that defense.
100%.
I want to touch on a couple of teams because they're right in a row, because we debated about these teams, about the Padres and the Cardinals, but right in the middle of them is those Seattle Mariners. Before we get back into that Padres Cardinals debate, because I do think it's very interesting, the floor is yours on the Seattle Mariners because they are the highest risers and they forgot how to lose.
They forgot how to lose. They've won 14 in a row. I think that they somehow got better during this 4-day All-Star break, because what Julio Rodriguez just did on a national and international stage was enough to get more eyes on TV sets watching the Seattle Mariners. And it feels like they took such positivity into the break. They didn't want the break to come. Mm-hmm. And here they are coming back from that. And Julio should be walking like he's got a 10-foot long dick. He has to be walking like that because you know what? He does. He's got the biggest dick in baseball right now.
Tripod.
And obviously we're speaking metaphorically. Neither of us have seen it. You were in LA. You might have seen it.
Yeah. Speak for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So apparently a big one. Peter confirms. But I mean, this guy is walking around like he's got a massive one, and he should be walking around like he's got a massive one, because what he did during the Derby and what he does with his infectious personality are exactly what superstars do. And you add the young superstar in baseball to Robbie Ray, who's looking really, really good over the last month, Logan Gilbert, who has continued this great start to the season, and the offense really starting to come around. Eugenio Suarez has been a great power bat for the Seattle Mariners here. So I think that everything is clicking at the right time. How long is it going to click is the real question, but we viewed the Mariners as sleeper contenders. I think they have entered the sleeper contender conversation again. And this just proves that baseball is the longest season of all, because they were down for the count a month ago. And here we are saying that they are the 7th best team in baseball.
I have been a little bit more down on the Mariners than I think you and Aram have. And my reasoning for it is when I look across the landscape of mega buyers, right? Like, I think the Twins are going to be in on Luis Castillo. Whether they get him or not, they're going to be in, and they're going to be adding starters. A lot of these teams, Red Sox, Blue Jays, they're going to be big time buyers. When I look at the Mariners, history has shown that they will not be big time buyers, that while they could trade for Juan Soto, it's more than likely they don't. It's more than likely they don't make the big time move for the starting pitcher, which they could definitely use, because you go down the rotation too with the Marco Gonzalez's of the world and the Chris Flexens of the world. Yeah. These are decent arms, but come playoff time against big time offenses, I'm curious how they will perform. Offensively, they're a good team offensively, not a great team offensively. Defensively, they're a good team defensively, not great. Bullpen, good, not great. Does Dipoto view this? This is the window now. This is when we finally make the move. I'm just unsure. If they do, egg on my face. We'll rank them accordingly. But that has always been my wait a minute on the Mariners. I want to see what they look like August 3rd.
Yeah. I don't think they look much different. I'm with you. I don't think that they're going to go get a Castillo or a Frankie Montas. I don't think that they are going to go get a Juan Soto, even though they can move for him. We know how bright the future is in Seattle. Here's the thing. They were so ridiculously fun last year, and that obviously had something to do with them winning all those games. So, you can take all the numbers, you can take the run differential, and when a team is having that much fun and wants to win that badly, we learned at the end of last year that you can throw that out the window. That's what we have been able to throw out the window the last 2 weeks with the Seattle Mariners, because Carlos Santana has been really good for them. There is no rhyme or reason to why Seattle does the things that they have done last fall and so far this summer over the last 3 weeks. I really think that this team has that youthful exuberance spearheaded by Julio that can take them not to the Astros, but can take them into the wild card, and they can make some serious noise.
And Ty France is a legend.
Ty France, electric.
St. Louis Cardinals versus San Diego Padres. The Cardinals rose 3 spots. The Padres dropped a spot. When you were making these rankings, did our argument come into your mind? And with that said, the argument is still on your side because you still do like the Padres more. But the Cardinals have been playing better. Again, I think they'll be big-time buyers. But again, so will the Padres. I just think that at the end of the day, the Cardinals brand of baseball, when you look at their roster compared to the Padres, especially because Tatis, we still don't know when he'll be back. Yeah. He could miss the entire season. I don't think any of us would be totally shocked. Does that scare you about the Padres? Or when you rank the Padres 6, is it assuming that he will be back at least by maybe September, let's say? Maybe even August.
So it's knowing that there is an opportunity for Fernando Tatis Jr. to come back. If he was out for the year, I really do think that the Padres would be a lot lower than this. But I think that the light at the end of the tunnel is still flickering a little bit. And I think that that provides some optimism there. At the end of the day, I just look at the starting pitching, man. I mean, I look at the difference between starting pitching. I look at what can survive, and Blake Snell threw 90 pitches without getting 4 outs the other day or something.
Yeah, I bet on him. It sucked.
It was horrible, dude. And why would you do that to a guy like that? Just take his ass out. But I mean, And like, I just think that what San Diego has to run out to the mound is just objectively way better than what St. Louis has at this moment to run out to the mound. Now, next time we release power rankings is going to be after the trade deadline. I fully expect St. Louis to jump San Diego. Fully, because I think that they're going to make a move for Frankie Montas. I think that they have to make a move for Frankie Montas. San Diego, if they don't get Juan Soto, they're going to drop a little bit. But I think that AJ Preller is the perfect brand of psychopath to go dish out the entirety of their future to put together a top three for the next 2.5 years of Tatis, Soto, and Manny Machado.
I really think the Padres are the favorite to sign Juan Soto. I do.
I saw the Yankees and Mets were the betting favorites, and then I saw the Dodgers. But I also saw that the Padres reached out to him.
I think the Padres, I mean, think about a team that's crazy enough to do it. He wants to pair him with Tatis. But on the Tatis note, I don't think that we can assume that even when Fernando Tatis Jr. comes back, that he's right back to being electric and hitting 45 home runs over on 162.
He's some sort of alien life form, so I think that he will be.
That's not a bad take either. It's just they're humans at the end of the day. I mean, we say they're freak shows. I do. I do think he's a human, and especially a wrist thing. Because you got to swing the bat. The wrist is one of the most important things for a player.
Yeah.
I don't know if he comes back and he's immediately electric. Like I just, it's hard for me to, but then again, it is Fernando Tatis Jr. and he may be from Mars. I just think when it's all said and done, the Cardinals are going to make the moves in order to be better than the Padres, even with the starting pitching concerns right now. I would take the Cardinals bullpen over the Padres bullpen.
Yeah, so with Helsley and Hennessis and
they add Montas, then we're looking at this being like, the Cardinals have every advantage except a lengthy amount of starting pitchers. When at the end of the day, Mackenzie Gore is starting to falter slightly. Is Clevenger going to hold up? Blake Snell is already looking like, he's up and down. I still love Blake Snell. Yu Darvish has great starts and bad starts, but overall he's been solid. I don't know. And then Musgrove, of course, has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
But besides Musgrove, I'm not super confident in any of these starting pitchers. And if they don't make the move for the Montas, the Castillo, even the Merrill Kelly, just a solid guy, I like the Cardinals.
I like the Cardinals too. And I would prefer quality over quantity, except when it's this stark of a difference.
And we're going to tease you. You got to go check out the rest of the top five on justbaseball.com. Jack wrote up these power rankings. He's also going to release a TikTok so you can cheat and go watch the TikTok. Follow us on TikTok at justbaseballfans, as well as on Instagram as well. I like teasing the top five. Top five is very good. There's a lot of good teams in there.
Yeah. A lot of really good teams. You could make the argument that they're the top 5 teams in baseball.
You could. And that's for you guys to decide. Go check out his article on justbaseball.com. But I'm very excited about this Ryan LaVarnway interview. He was phenomenal, really unpacked his brain about all of the prospects he's been looking at because he was able to talk to coaches. He's the catcher now for the AAA Marlins, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. He's been able to catch, like he was Max Meyer's catcher for that month before he got called up to the bigs. Has a lot of great insight into prospects. So we're switching over from the MLB to the prospect side. So here's Ryan LaVarnway.
Did you do an outro?
I didn't. So
okay.
You want to just do a quick one?
Do a quick
one. Yeah. Wait, do you want to start or do you want me to? You. Okay. The prospect brain on that guy. He has been in baseball now since 2011, drafted by the Boston Red Sox in the 6th round. And you know what's funny, Jack? I wanted to ask him about his draft party because I was watching the Derek Jeter documentary. And Derek Jeter, he was watching it with just his parents. Not even watching because it wasn't on TV. And he didn't know that the first 5 picks, I don't want to ruin the whole Derek Jeter doc, but this was a great one because I'm seeing now the draft parties with all these guys who are just in full suits and just the pageantry around it.
Right.
And you go back even before Ryan LaVarnway was drafted to Derek Jeter, where he's just in sweatpants waiting for the 6th pick to the New York Yankees. I asked him about the draft party. It's cool to see how baseball has progressed. And with the robo umpires, we were talking about potentially, the difference of how framing is the most important aspect in catching. But now with robo umpires, we could start to revert back to, oh yeah, Salvador Perez is the best catcher in baseball, because it doesn't matter what he frames. All you got to do is block the ball. You got to throw runners out, and you got to hit nukes. I'm kind of excited for that low key, because that's more fun to rank catchers rather than just going in Savant and ranking them by the freaking framing metrics.
I understand, man. Yeah, I find that level, that AAA level, just being at it, I find it fascinating because, you know, much like that, I was talking to Jason DeLay, and he said, I feel absolutely useless back there because like all I work on is framing. And here we are. And, you know, it happened in Charlotte for, I want to say like 2 games. They had an automatic strike zone. And he was just like, I felt so useless. I was like, I hear you, man. But Lavarnway, I find it so interesting, the mentorship that a guy like Lavarnway and I guess next week, Taylor Davis provides to young guys. Like Lavarnway, a lot of the prospects that you talked to or that you talked about with him are guys that he has probably mentored in a certain, you know, severity. Like Max Meyer probably picked up a thing or two from Ryan Lavarnway, that type of thing. And this was a top 100 guy in his own right. Say 2012, he was a top 100 guy, and he debuted with the Red Sox. Been up and down, team by team, up and down, team by team. He is constantly moved around. He just loves baseball so much. He's 34 years old. He's still going, and he knows that he might get that crack again at the major leagues, and he wants to be there for that. Really smart guy. He's a Yale man.
He's a Yale man. And you could tell the Yale in his voice too, because just a baseball mind at his core. So that'll do it for this episode of the Just Baseball Show. Hopefully everybody has a good weekend. We have a free $10 gift card in our episode description to Whatnot for all of our card collectors. You want some free money again to go get some cards? Use that code in our episode description. Free $10. Might as well just go get yourself a pack of cards. No sweat off your back. Free $10. Whatnot, that is in the episode description as well. If you want to join our chalkboard group chat, that is all over our link tree, which as well you can find on our social media pages, as well as use our promo code JustBaseball for signing up with Prize Picks. And with that, thank you, everybody.